Your barber is much more than just your barber.
Yeah.
Your barber is your relationship guru. Your barber is your counselor. Your barber is your doctor, your nurse, your brethren, all of that.
Almost like a father figure as well.
Yeah, you're like a father. I remember when you start it from young, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm getting to look up. So I'm getting to soak up all the information. I'm getting to be around adults. You know, when you're with your family, you have to come out the room.
Yeah.
With these people, I don't have to come out the room. I'm here. Like, I'm actually
in the center as well.
Oh my gosh, I'm actually getting to soak it up. So in a sense, you're almost learning what it's like to be a man.
Yeah.
You're grabbing little bits here and there. So that man's like this, that man's like that man, and you just emulate the whole thing. You just emulate the whole thing. It's just like, so yeah, I feel like we can all say it may have shaped us. To be the men that we are today.
No pun intended, by the way. Because I know you were trying to do that.
I know. I saw that.
All right, guys, wait, hold up. So we looked at the analytics, and apparently 25% of you who watch this podcast are not subscribed. Now, that doesn't make sense, because if you're watching this podcast, then you clearly like it and you clearly want more. So the best way to get more is to subscribe. And guess what? Even do another thing, subscribe. Hit that little bell button and put the notifications on. So when we post this exquisite content, right, you'll get it directly in your notifications. So subscribe right now. Thank you.
No drag step overs for you, boy.
Nope.
Not our one circles either.
Letting the age catch up on me still, but let's get started anyway. Yo, it's another episode of the Goodman Factory. You're here with your boy Goodman Manny. We got Goodman Daps. He's excited today.
Someone's had their Weetabix today, boy.
We got Big Man Daps back in the chaos today. We've also got a special guest today. We got Myles as well, and we got Goodman Mike here, as usual, stunting on us with his new fashion label that he's just created.
Malik,
Malik, I'm fly boss. He's a fly boy.
I'm not even. It's not even a that thing, boy. It's not even a that thing. Still, it's not. It's not even that.
Got to pay attention to how he put on the glasses.
It's not even that, boy. Sorry, man.
Yeah.
That was a real waiting to happen. Still,
boy. Sorry, man.
Must have thought it was a boomerang, bro.
Boy,
finished.
Nah, man, it's good. But listen, gents, it's amazing to be here. I think it's been a few weeks for myself. Looking forward to chopping up today. So one of the things we're going to discuss is the barbershop, and I think the barbershop in itself is quite a significant place, I would say, for many black men in the UK. We know that that's the case in the States as well, but certainly for us here, I just think about my first experience going into the barbershop. But I think the reason why it's such a significant place for us, because I think it's one of the first few places where we actually engage with older men, first of all, and I think it's an actual place that we can officially say was a safe space in some regards for us, but also for other people within the community. So I think one of the first questions I'm going to ask is, when did you first enter the barbershop? When did you first have your experience with the barbershop? I'm going to start off with you.
I'll stay. Oh, you want to start?
Go on, Myles.
I don't mind starting. You know what? I didn't even start in the barbershop. When I was in a primary school, my dad would cut my hair. So my dad would clean, the level one? Get the level one. I ain't not like these kids nowadays where they're getting the taper and stuff like that. I was getting the level one, clean it off, but with a night tick in the back. With the night tick in the back, serious. And then...
Wait, you said your dad was giving you the night tick?
My dad would... Yeah, my dad...
I rate that, you know.
Wow,
yeah,
trust.
Yeah. I didn't say it was 10-10. I just said I got a night tick.
Some sort of tick.
Yeah.
The back
it was an attempt. It was before that.
It was a night tick. Anyway, I got to secondary school, 11, 12, and my mum started taking me to a barbershop. So I'm going to the barbershop, to a local one, and then I hit about 13, 14. That's when I started going by myself. It first couple times was all right, and then I think the third time, man, I had this bad experience. I got a bad cut, but I don't mean in terms of quality. Got an infection, and it was bad, man. It wasn't visible, but it was like my scalp. My scalp was bad. I don't know if he had dirty clippers or what. Oh. So I had an infection, and it just made me feel a bit conscious. Like I didn't really want to go to the barbershop again, because it was like, man, because a barber's looking directly into your scalp when they trim you. So I just remember feeling like, oh man, I don't want to go to the barbershop. So I started feeling a bit, I want to let my hair grow out a bit longer. No, let me not go to the barbershop yet. Anyway, several months after it cleared up, then I hit 14, 15. What happens for teenage boys around 14, 15? We start talking to girls. I'm going every 2 weeks. I'm going every 2 weeks.
Yeah, trust.
I'm getting a fresh skin fade. I'm getting a border. You guys remember the border?
Yeah.
And the border, slits on the eyebrows. Yeah.
I remember that.
Slits on the eyebrows.
I remember that
I'm looking
still.
clean every 2 weeks. And then, yeah, as you said, I'm around older guys and having those conversations. But yeah, that was my barbershop journey. It was bumpy, I'll say that.
I was going to ask a quick question. You see, when you said you stopped going to the barbers, was that because you didn't trust that particular barber, or because you was conscious that they were looking down on your head? And
I was conscious. I just felt shame, and I felt just like, oh man, because I had one barber that I went to. Oh man, he was just cussing my head the whole trim. He was like, you don't care about your hair. You don't care about your.
And they're so outspoken in
and
it.
I'm thinking, brother, I didn't even do this.
Yeah.
I'm suffering here, bro. I'm suffering. But yeah, I just felt conscious, man. I was embarrassed. But then, yeah, as I said, it cleared up, and then I was getting trimmed regularly, and yeah, I was cool after.
Cool. Sick. What about you, Daps? What was your first experience like in the barbershop? Do you remember when you first went to the barbershop?
So growing up, I don't think I actually touched the barbershop proper until my early teens, you know. When I was a kid, my mum was cutting my hair. And she was doing like the full goody makba, no style, no finesse,
no shape up,
crystal
no nothing.
No, brother, there was no hair. It was my hair. Listen, brother, no cap.
I can still feel it.
Listen, I will speak my truth unashamedly. My mum would finish my hair. She would be like, "You can't go to the barber. That's how you go there. How you saying about how these people are catching AIDS?" I said, "Yeah, safe. Yeah, absolutely." And you know, back then, because a lot of people certain barbers weren't always on point in terms of cleaning them. And then you know how, again, love, shout out to all the Nigerian mums. You know how dramatic some Nigerian mums can be. They hear that, oh, one place has AIDS. Now it's a nationwide pandemic. And now everyone, all of a sudden, now you go to any barber shop, now you can catch AIDS. So, no.
I remember that. My mum said the same thing.
I never heard that.
I never heard that.
Yeah, now mum
Trust me.
I'm sure we share the same mum, because mum said exactly the same thing.
See,
It's mad.
See, this is what I love. I love that I'm not mad. So when I was saying people back then, they'd be like, "Your mum, you said what AIDS and that."
You know,
That's why.
I was gonna say when you go back and tell your mum this, mum look at me like, "Are you mad? You're calling me?" Yeah, like, I didn't say this.
Yeah.
Listen, mum, you used to sing. You used to put it on a hymn sheet, and we used to sing every Sunday.
She'll be saying, you know, she'll bring like a newspaper, and I'll be like, "Oh, mum, I want to get my hair cut." She'll be like, "No, son, you don't know what's going on. Aren't you hearing about all these places where they're not trimming properly now? Kids are getting AIDS from barbershop." I said,
Yeah, from the head.
These times, my head was out here reflecting sun rays.
man.
Nah, big man thing. These times my head was out here reflecting sun rays like a Malteser. It was mad.
So
you lot don't understand.
the funny thing is, my actual experience of getting my hair cut was actually from my mum as well. So similar to you, I don't think I started going to the barbers until I was about 12, 13.
Same for me.
So for up until that point, especially in year 7, that was a terrible year for me, boy, because I was getting slapped. You know that when you come into school,
good enough.
fresh haircut.
Yeah, that quick.
And
Hey, let me see.
Yeah.
yeah, I know your hair
People
is
used to do this.
head.
People used to do the. And your head would go left, right, yeah.
But the whole time,
down the stairs.
But the whole time it was my mum trimming my hair. And what I didn't know, well, I don't know, maybe I'll go back and ask her now. I don't know if my mum was cutting my hair up until that point because of the same reason. Like, because you know how Nigerian parents are as well.
Yeah, they hear one thing and it spreads.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something.
And some of them won't say anything.
Nigerian uncles and aunties, mothers and fathers were doing WhatsApp level stuff before WhatsApp ever came into being.
How?
I feel like a lot of people don't understand this, bruv. I hear those chain messages and be like, "Oh yeah, they sent to all of their friends." I don't know how these lot were doing it. Clearly, it was just like good old pick up the phone and talk to your friends, and that's how it's naturally
like
spreading.
wildfire.
So I think after that, when I started getting into secondary school, then I started going. I've had a few interesting experiences with barbers when I was younger, man.
You found your way through it.
This episode's going to be mad because as you just said that, I just thought about my old barber experience. I got some stories for you guys, bro. Yeah. I got some stories today.
Hey.
I still remember his face. I remember
it's mad. Like there were a few, and it's so crazy because some of the great barbershops are some of the most rowdy barbershops.
Yeah.
Like there's one barbershop in Ends. Obviously the man that will know back in the day. is a shop that's in Stratford, East London, innit? Around Maryland sides. And there always used to be a madness happening some way, somehow at Flex.
When you say madness, what do you mean?
Just a whole load of crud, beef, arguments, guys getting into fights with guys, girls getting into fights with girls, girls getting into fights with guys. Like it was all popping off at Flex at one point.
In the barbershop.
Yeah.
What?
In the barbershop.
What?
What?
That's mad, didn't it?
Stratford, Maryland,
What?
yeah, that is like the Chicago of like.
Hey, chill.
That's a whole other world.
Obviously, I'm from
Maryland
South.
ain't normal like everywhere else.
Fam,
I don't know.
I heard of the
know.
barbershop, but I've never been there myself.
It's
to be fair.
legendary. It's legendary. It's legendary. And the shop is still there to this day.
Still,
I walk
There's
past
still
the
beef
shop.
as well.
We walk past the shop every day without fail. Anytime I'm going to go and see my mum, guaranteed I'm always walking past. The first few places that I went to, because obviously, again, I'm literally coming out of having my hair done or having my hair cut by my mum the entire time, so I know nothing about barbershops. Then I knew about one barber out of a shop in Stratford called Another Level. Yeah, shout out to the legendary 6. I don't know where you are now, brother, but fam, your trims were legendary. The guy he handed me over to, though, oh fuck.
The handover's never that comfortable, bro.
See, that's the thing. I've only had one good handover, and that's with my most recent barber. Do you get it? That one? Anyway, I'm not gonna bait him out in it because obviously I still see him from time to time.
Probably still trimming people now.
That's what it is. You're in the fight.
Absolutely.
I saw what you were saying. I saw what you were saying.
Nah. Listen, they were definitely like. See, the thing is, see with the way my hairline is set up, I'm already battling against genetics anyway, so I don't need barbers now come and do
Mess it up.
certain mess. And sometimes this guy would leave man's hairline collapse. Oh, it was insane. I was looking at it afterwards and I'm just like, why? And he's always drinking as well.
This was the thing when you was younger, when they would mess up your trim and you wouldn't want to say, like, but I don't like it.
Nah.
Are you talking about now? Are you talking about now? Or are you talking...
No, I'm talking
Okay,
about when I was younger. This was before I had real common sense and had the real sense of discernment to know what barber to go with and that. Do you get me?
But okay, we're gonna talk about that after. But
it's
conversation that you have to have with your barbers, like, you know.
Now it's not
when things don't go completely how you want it to go.
Oh, I find it hard, you know.
Trying to navigate that conversation.
It's a lot easier for me now.
Some man will say they find it harder than even having conversations with their missus still. But.
Yeah. It's techie. It's techie. Do you know what it is? Do you know what it is as well? I think it's that one of it's your barber and it's like it's weird because I'm trying to think of an equivalent.
I don't think there is.
No. Like, so you see how for a guy, it's like, boom, you know, I'm giving you my hairline right now. Take good care of it. Don't take the piss. Let me step out of here now and draw 5 girls immediately because my trim is on point. Like the line is so sharp it can cut through steel. You already know the type of vibes that we're on in it. And sometimes, you know, he would get it right. And I'll step out feeling like the man, especially when you're young and you're a teenager and that. You're in a place whereby ideally you want to look as fly as possible because you never know. And again, when we're all growing up, ego, innit? You want to know that you're looking good and this, that, and the other. There were a couple of times, my hairline got bastardized. Wow. I'm not going to lie. Wow. It was terrible.
What about you, man?
Suffering, bro.
Me?
What was your
it's funny.
experience like?
It's funny because me and my younger brother used to get our trims again done by our mum. And I think as a treat, one time or twice, when I was really young, we got it trimmed by some barber near where I lived. And they were decent. I remember getting a night tick at the back of my head. With I don't even know what it was. It was just all the hair off and the night tick. But it was kind of like a shape up. Long story short, fast forward. I think I was like, again, 13, 14.
What does that even mean?
I can't even explain. You know what's mad?
Like a shape up.
Yeah, I think there was a shape up, but I can't remember. I just remember the most exciting part of it was the fact that I had the night tick at the back of my head. But yeah, it was. Now I just
that's
think.
what I'm saying. So your mum gave you some form of allowance. I could imagine mum saying,
I don't know what happened.
What's on the back of it? Yeah, go back to that shop. Back to the shop.
But she took us. I don't know if she had a Weetabix that day or someone just made her happy. But she took us to the barbers and me and my brother got our trims there. But then literally when I started going, so on to that point, I think from when I was literally a toddler to about, I think it was 13, 14, I was getting my trim basically most of the time cut by my mum. It was front to back, all of it off, why are you crying? Slap my head. You're making too much noise. I'll slap you again. And then Calvin, oh yeah, Calvin, come here. Your brother has finished his own. Come on. You go and bath. Go and bath. That's what it was like. It was mad. Then I got to that 40. Yeah, literally. And the thing is hot. There's actually from the blades being hot. And it was making that noise as well. You know that, yeah. They didn't have to lube the blades.
Once you hear that,
yeah, it's had enough.
You know that your headpiece is in
it's
for
long.
some blunt force trauma. It is not nice, bro.
It's not cutting, but the skin's coming off, bro. What do you mean it's not cutting? Literally. So I think I got to about 14, maybe 15. I think actually 13, 14. Then I started going barbers myself when it was my local one, and I had two that I went to, and then basically I had a bad experience with one of the barbers, one of my Nigerian. I call him my Nigerian uncle, of course, but he shagged. When I say shagged my hairline, and it was so hot. You know when they make the line and you start bleeding, but the thing wasn't healing back properly. So when my hair's growing, it's growing either side of the line. So he's already taken my hairline back. Then I had hair growing in front and behind the line, so I had almost like a border. Wow. And then when I went to shout out Plush, I went to Mikey. I remember Mikey one time said to me,
set up your hairline like border
fam. He said to me, I've also went to the barber there, and there was another barber, I'm not going to bait out his name. He cut my hair, done the exact same thing. And I thought it was just my skin now. But then Mikey said, fam, he literally started giggling at my hairline. He said, fam, who done you like this? And I said, oh, it's the other guy that literally next door, like that guy that sits next to you. He says, bruv, he talks too much. He talks way too much. He literally burnt my hairline. He said, to the point where your hair's not even growing back there, bro. Yeah. I said, yeah.
You know that's mad when they've actually been able to singe off the hair follicles.
He's gone so deep. He's gone past the top layer of skin, bro.
I want to know if barbers feel guilty.
I don't think he did.
I want to know if barbers feel it. Like they're
I don't
just
think
like,
they give a heck.
oh, you know what? I messed him up.
Do you know what
man.
replaced guilt? That stupid black hairspray that all the dudes start using.
Bro, I use that sometimes, you know, my
I've
clients.
never used it.
That's replaced guilt, you know. Haven't you clocked that, like, okay, but clearly it's only the barbers that I go to.
No, wait.
No. But they've got this like black
hair fibers,
and then
hair fibers or the spray
that they're using on top of it. But I started thinking about it the other day. I was thinking
topic
black hair fibers.
Yeah.
So you guys
hair
go with
fibers.
the names. Yeah.
What does that do?
I use it on.
Imagine hair dye. That's it. It's hair dye.
Yeah, so imagine they've given you your shape up and everything, and at the very end of that trim, they get like a bit of they get like a bit of card, yeah, and then like they'll just line up your shape up, and then they'll just spray it, and then they'll do the same for the side.
Yeah, but then
they'll do the beard as well.
Yeah, but then that won't last though.
It depends. It depends on what they use.
Define what you mean by it depends. I'm intrigued.
Go on, because with me, initially I used to.
Why you laughing like that?
I used to get quite annoyed by that because I used to think to myself, I usually go get a shower after I've got a trim.
Yeah.
To get rid of all the hair. So in my head, I'm thinking, if you do this now,
I can't shower. I have to wait.
But then I would say it every single time, and then I started thinking to myself, right, is there a reason why this guy keeps using it? Maybe I'm not looking at like what they're doing to my hairline properly, like, because it's like no matter what I said, they were still using that spray. And then I started thinking to myself, maybe it's because like they can afford to like shag a little bit of your hairline now. But knowing that they've got that spray,
it
when
recovers.
You walk out,
I never even thought of that, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
I never even.
But what I have noticed is that a lot of them just like to use it now. I think it's just a thing. You know, like I think they did it in America a lot.
It's culture now. It's culture.
They did it in America a lot. So a lot of it, I think, is just that they just want to kind of use it as a finishing touch.
Yeah.
But in my head, I think that it's a bit of a cop out a little bit. I think as well.
Do not get it twisted though. There are some barbers who are against that. They're not trying to use it, and they're wicked. They're saying, you know what?
Yeah,
the same way.
They are war criminals, and they should be locked up. They should be tried
the ones that used it.
crimes against airlines. You know the main reason, because I prayed it. If you think about it, yeah, Donnies that are actually doing that, really and truly, are actually optical illusionists. They're mad because they're gonna have you.
I can see what you're saying.
But you've got to pre it though, yeah, right?
Yeah.
So you're going out here. These times, you know, depending on how they've done, they're like, oh, took a little bit too much there. No problem. Get off the black spray.
Yeah.
And then now it's just coming looking like a fresh paint job.
Yeah.
But then that paint job will fade.
Yeah, but
and then all it takes is for you to be out one time and you're trying to talk to one girl, and then one hairline is here, bagam. The other one is now pushing back
a bit further.
And then someone's gonna go Guskaloo, and now your hairline is collapsed.
It's done. It's done.
Let me just protect some of the barbers out there, because I know that there's a few barbers that may use it and they're not dead barbers like you were saying, Myles. I do think it's come more from the culture of Americans doing it in all of their barbershops. Like you see it a lot on documentaries and stuff. They have the spray. I think that they've just brought it over here initially just to copy. They want it to look sharp. Because you know Americans always have this kind of exaggerated
I think they've
haircut.
been using it from ages. Do you remember that
yeah.
picture of
That's what's
Ludacris?
been happening.
Yeah.
Remember that? That was
100%.
on every barbershop. His fade, his trim
It's
was
nuts.
too hard.
It's nuts.
It was too hard.
I was
They
gonna-
must have been using.
I was gonna say, let me explain with well, Americans call it enhancement. So I've seen before I used to cut hair myself and cut my own hair and cut everyone else's hair. The Americans call it enhancement, basically. So as much as the shape up is sharp, it's like you said, the finishing touch. Some barbers, I think very few barbers will shag your hairline, then try to use that to recover.
Yeah.
You shouldn't. The good barbers that use it always like you should have the shape up sharp anyway.
Regardless.
Yeah.
And then add the enhancement to make it look a little bit. That I think it just gives it that extra
I thought
percent.
that's just how it went.
That HD, that 4K HD feel to your hairline and trim.
What a lot of barbers are doing as well is they're using hairspray to hold your hair in place. So they comb your hair in the direction. For example, if you have low hair like mine, you comb it or brush it forward, spray hairspray and brush it again. Then your hair stays in that position. When you give the shape up, it's
even
nuts.
sharper.
Sharp, and then you can put the enhancement after. Doesn't
Don't
really
get
matter.
twisted. I guess just like everything else, if you find ways to like make your craft better,
Do your thing.
then
Yeah, then
my,
that's
the thing,
my
yeah.
issue is when I think that you're using it because
To
you've done
recover.
something wrong.
Yeah, when you're
A
using it
bad
as a
shape
cover
up.
up. Them
I've seen
man
that.
are terrorists.
Yeah, 'cause I've
they
seen
are
that.
hairline terrorists. And I need
Should
to
be locked up.
Yeah, listen to me.
It should be locked
All of you
up.
barbers,
Hairline
yeah. All of you barbers, yeah. All you hairline terrorists that are out there not doing due diligence, not using the best of the clippers.
Trust.
Shame on you.
Yeah.
Shame upon you.
You should be ashamed.
You should be ashamed of
You
yourself.
should be ashamed.
And you, if I'm not careful, will end up working in McDonald's.
That's why.
That's what I said, and I meant what I said.
That's what I said, and I really meant what I'm saying.
You know what I mean?
Do you know what? I'm speaking from a bit too much pain here.
Yeah, trust.
Coming like a Mary J. Blige album.
That is funny.
But you know, like my point about the barbershop, and I think that's why it was good to hear your initial experiences, is because, like, for me, the barbershop was first, you know, the place where I got my trim, and I was like independent of my mum and my dad giving me these dead trims where there was no shape up and all that stuff. But I think like ultimately, I found that the barbershop was just like, especially like from where I came from, was like a mad pillar within our community, because like the barbershop, so like shout out Cut Above the Rest. So Patrick, there's a guy called Patrick in his time, he set up this barbershop called Cut Above the Rest. And one of the things I noticed here is that the barbershop itself, one, was like an opportunity for like up and coming entrepreneurs. So like when I was going about 13, 14, every single barber that was in that shop, they all set up their own barbershops across like Newham now. Like they've got barbershops in Ilford, they set up down the road, like all in local areas. And I think the second thing that I noticed as well was that like Patrick himself was like a mad businessman. Like upstairs, he had like a tattoo parlor, so people were going up there to get the tattoos as well. There was this famous tracksuit in ends called I've gone mad. I was gonna say Academics. It wasn't Funk. Ferraducci was one of them, but I don't think it's set. No, but this was actually set up from Cut Above the Rest.
It wasn't Money or
Funk.
the love one, was it?
I think it was it Academics?
Couldn't have
Malik,
been
help me out.
Academics.
No, it's not it was like Funk something. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna have to try and plug it in later on. But either way, they set up their own clothing line, and everybody in school was now wearing these jackets, these tracksuits and stuff like that. And I think when I think about the barbershop, I always think about it as like a place where like I actually saw like black men being like businessmen and being entrepreneurs for the very first time. And I think that's the thing that I respect the most. I think when we move on and kind of talk about our experiences of the barbershop, I was gonna ask you guys, has there been a time where you've had to challenge your barber because of a poor haircut or like a dead haircut?
I can definitely talk about that. There was a time with my most recent. Well, you know, I told you that I've had two barber handovers, and one was good and one was shit, right? So this was the good handover, but this is when, like, before he left, because he ended up leaving. Shout out to Gazzoni, innit? Because he's now in Berms doing his own thing. So if you're in Berms, you should find Gazzoni. He's amazing. So I've one time now, I've gone there on a Saturday, and we all know there's like this unspoken rule, right? If you go to the barbershop on a Saturday or on the weekend, you need to book, because you can actually spend the whole day at the barbershop and do everything at the barbershop, but actually get your haircut. If you're not actually careful.
It's chatty patty.
You know, like that. So I've gone there now, got the trim, this is that and the other. And at first it was looking quite good, innit? Luckily, the barber's not far from my house, so I've gotten back home. And I was just preyed and I thought, nah, this trim ain't hitting. I'm looking at it in the mirror and I'm thinking to myself, oh, maybe it's just me being excessive. And I've looked at it again and I'm like, nah, this trim ain't hitting. I promise you I went back to the shop. I went back and I said, yo, Guzoni. He said, chairman, what's that? I said, you need to put it back in the chest though. It's like, why is it? It's not hitting.
What was his reaction like?
Do you know what? He took it really well.
As in, there was no static. There was no kind of
awkwardness or
no.
Who does this boy think he is?
No,
is he
was
mad?
there. He was there with the guy actually that he handed me over to, Don P. Shout out to Don P as well. And so it's crazy. Some of the sickest barbers are called Patrick, innit? Because my one's called Patrick as well. So I came back and he was like, I think he was more surprised because he's very proud of his craft. He's always used to giving top tier cuts. But I know when I went to see him that day, it was a long day. I think I was one of the last people there to see him.
Hold on, sorry to cut you. When you went back to him and you said, you know what, it's not hitting, did you say it loud?
Do you know what? Nah, it wasn't in the shop. So cool. So basically, I had that position is important because the pride aspect
Because
could
you
be a
take
lot.
everything off.
It would have been beef that day.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So it was sunny in it at the time. It was like late afternoon, going on early evening. So I've come back now. Gazoni and Don P are literally sitting just outside the shop. So it's actually kind of quieted down a little bit. So they didn't actually have too many people on. So I just told him straight, like, oh yeah, boom. This wasn't hitting. I think he was more surprised that I came back because it's like
I don't give dead haircuts.
I don't give dead haircuts. So I think it was that. But to be fair, there was no static. That's probably the best reaction I think I've ever gotten. The one that I had before when I was at he gave me a dead trim and I told him, he was like, yeah, but you talk too much, man. I said, nah, brother. This ain't the case of you talking too much. This guy, bro, I could smell the ackee on his breath. You know when the hair is just breathing on top. And I'm just here smelling. I'm just like, you know what? I know sometimes with certain barbers, when they get drunk, they go into like a barber's trance and they just give magical trims.
Yeah.
It was not that.
It's not for him.
It was not that.
I remember one time.
I've had some really good trims with them barbers that
Trust
drink.
me.
Yeah.
I remember one time I took my cousin to the barber shop, and I've gone to my typical barber, and he was like, "I'm in a rush," and he was like, "Okay, I want to go to this barber." So I was like,
Question.
"Go ahead."
The barber that he went to, did you know he was shit?
Yo, bad guy.
You're bad vibes.
I wouldn't have known as well. See,
I was trying to avoid that part.
You know, it is. I didn't appreciate that. No. He wasn't
Class.
dead. He wasn't dead. He was just, you know what it is? Certain barbers, they're good barbers, but they lack discipline. So you could tell a man, you know what, I want to get this trim and da-da-da, and they think, you know what, let me just do what I'm comfortable with. And it happens. We've all been through it, right?
ones.
All right, cool. So he's gone to the barber, he's got the trim, and he's very particular about his look. Like his fade is usually just amazing, but he was with me that day. Older cousin too. So he's got the trim.
Did he punch you up after?
He's got the trim, he's vexed. He's paid the man, but when he's paying him, you're not even talking. He's just gone, he's walked out. The barber felt so shame, he followed him out and said, you know what, have some back.
Oh, swear down.
Swear to you.
No
Swear to you. In my head, I'm
way.
thinking,
Yo.
Jamaican barber too.
That's a Discovery Channel
You know
kind
what
of
the thing is?
documentary.
Do you know what?
Scene.
It's interesting that you bring that up. The whole thing of Jamaica.
What? He gave him his money.
He gave him the
He
people.
followed him
I've never heard that
outside
in
the
my
shop
life.
and gave him, not all of it, but some of his money back.
Yeah,
And
never
no word of a
realised.
lie. No word of a lie, he gave him some money back because he walked out so vexed. I felt shame, but then when he gave him money back, I was like, all right, cool.
Something, yeah. I recovered.
He got some conversation, and he got kind of like a free trim, and I'm out the dark. But yeah, he followed him out, and he gave him some money. Gave him some money.
When you looked at the trim, did you think it
To
was,
me-
or was it because your cousin's standards?
To
were-
me, yeah, his standards are high, like super, super high.
Can imagine.
But for me, the trim wasn't even that bad. He just was vexed, like he's not talking. Pay the man, you say, all right, safe, boss,
respect for that.
respect, anything. None of that.
He
None
probably,
of that.
he probably
Man
asked
said
for
he said,
something in particular, innit? He probably asked for something in particular.
Yes, I'm trying to say some
and the
barbers
guy
lack
just didn't give
discipline.
him- Yeah.
Some barbers lack discipline, and it's a shame. But yeah, it happens. It happens.
No, it's crazy what some barbers will do and the way they handle certain things. Like there's one barber again in ends, innit? Man won't speak on it too tough because that's my guy, innit?
No names.
No names, innit?
No names.
But have you ever come across them barbers? And it's kind of like what you said, where you will tell the barber what you want, or you even show man a picture of this. I want this, and he'll be like, yeah, brother, no problem, cool.
25 minutes later,
Fam.
You go there, you look at it, and I'm like, bro, and you know in your head you're kind of like, brother, what I asked you to do, and what I'm seeing in this mirror right now,
not the same.
this is not the same. Why are you not following the assignment? Because big man, have you never seen that?
It happened to me with my very last trim.
Oh no!
Yeah. Do you know what it is? Yeah. So I'll tell you one thing. Yeah. Sometimes the most frustrating thing about barbers is that when they're so good, that's why they don't follow instructions.
And it's hard to correct them because they make it work in the end.
Yeah, they feel like they know better than you, to the point where like you might suggest something and they're looking at you like, wow, like,
am I your mate?
Yeah.
Or they might tell you, no, you should get this.
I've had
in
that.
a different way.
Yes.
No.
I've had that.
Yes.
I had it like that though. I had it like that.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Don't worry. Now, yeah. Flashbacks.
It's mad triggering. Like what you just said.
funny.
Yeah, I went to my bar more often than not. Now what I do is I literally go onto my phone. I've pulled out the picture before I've even stepped in.
Yeah.
'Cause I know exactly what I want, because the last time you didn't do it. Yeah. So let me bring out my phone this
So
time.
that now there's no confusion.
There's no-
as to
And
what
I'll
the
be like,
assignment
you
is.
see that one there? Yeah. Could you just
Even
give me-
enlarge it.
I just say, give me that exact same thing, the same fade,
Look at the corner.
everything,
Look at the
whatever.
corner.
And I might even give specific instructions, and I might say, for example, like, you know, like don't use the blade on the beard, like. And sometimes I used to get a bit like, not fearful, but like I used to think to myself, right, like if you sound too picky, you might come across a bit annoying.
Yeah,
But now I
they
got
wanna
to a
cut
point
you.
where it's like, I'm gonna pay you money regardless. So like,
You better
I should be able to say,
should be able to
don't
highlight
use the
what you
blade
want.
on this part, don't use the spray there today, leave the moustache. That's the main one. I always say leave the moustache. They'll still find a way to
I don't know why they do that.
clip it, and so it goes back to the point where I think that because they know what they think is best for you, and because they're good at what they do, they just look at it like, I know you told me to do that. I feel like it's almost like a reflex, because I'll see my
Autopilot.
it's
Yeah,
autopilot.
yeah.
A lot of them is
100.
like the trim's almost done, and then I'll just see him pulling the trimmer closer to my moustache, and I'm looking at him like,
Fam, did you not hear?
Why?
Did you not hear what?
Yeah.
Did you not hear it?
we
Are you
agreed
alright?
already
Are you
this
alright,
isn't
big
gonna
man?
happen. So I do think a part of it is just autopilot. Like I think
Yeah.
they just get into that habit. What about you?
I was gonna say personally, when I'm cutting hair myself, I get into that thing where I know I can give really good fades, but then when they say, for example, don't touch my moustache, at the end of the trim, like he said, I get close to the moustache and they're looking at me like, Mike, are you alright?
What you doing?
And they start doing this. They start doing this thing like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh no, you don't. Oh, your moustache. No. Alright, cool, sir, bro.
But I
kind of thing.
told you
That's the thing. So they're looking at me like, you mad? But then sometimes I'll be like, if you trust me, I won't take off none, because they're scared of that little worm you get on top of your lip.
That French
The
moustache.
little that thing there.
we don't.
You know what it is?
Rat-
You know what it is?
ratatouille.
I found out barbers love that, you know.
Yeah.
I don't understand
No,
what
they
it
do.
is. I
Take
don't know
your
what it
moustache
is.
off,
No, it's
basically.
true.
It's that one and a triangle. I don't understand.
Yeah.
I told you, the last time I told you I did like a triangle. Why are you doing a triangle again? We did not discuss shapes.
and this
I didn't
cut
tell
around
you I
it.
wanted any shapes.
Yeah.
My moustache, it goes like this and like that. So
Yeah.
literally, why
Just
are you
follow
making-
the-
I didn't want no shape. I
Do
didn't
you,
want
know,
no
do,
shape.
do you know what I think it is? I think for them it's also a case of, if everywhere else has been trimmed up, looking good, you just want there to be a certain level. I don't agree.
Yes.
I don't agree with it, but they want there to be a certain level of uniform cleanliness about your entire
All over.
facial
Yeah.
structure.
All over.
So low key, as much as I don't agree with it, I do understand sometimes why they do it. So even with my barber, sometimes I'll tell him, leave the beard, innit? So like last time, I got this trim a few weeks ago, and prior to that, I had my beard taken down quite a lot. I got it down to like low.
As in
Obviously-
you trim, as in you took
Took
it
the level,
down,
the height down.
or like you took.
No.
Okay.
It was quite low. Shout out to obviously Goodman Beardo. Get your monthly subscription package now. We're back, baby.
Plug in.
You should go in and out with the zoom.
Shameless plug.
Firework. There it is.
hope you got some sound effects for that one, bro.
Hey, bro, please.
No.
I want to repeat, fam.
2016.
Oh, 2016. Laminga, I'm Atachi.
Hey, you lot, I'm done, man. I'm finished.
No, it's done. No, but it's interesting though, because it's so funny how when you tell a barber, I've preed it. It's instinct. Because I definitely got mushroom. I went to him and I said, obviously my beard's grown quite a bit. There's no need for you to take it down. He's like, and my barber's gone in. He's like, okay, boss, no problem. Cool. Going for the trim. Shipping up everything. Now I'm just seeing me gently brushing some of the fibers of my beard with the clipper, and I'm looking at don't be any problem. I think I don't have any problems now. I know what I said. No, boss, you can leave it. Don't worry. Just we are regrowing it. We are growing it, and he's okay, boss, no problem.
Themselves.
You have to remind it, yeah. You have to remind them.
You know what I will say, because I haven't said it, I'll say it to the camera. Listen, shout out all the disciplined barbers. We love and appreciate you, yeah? Big up yourself, you're good people. That's what I'll say.
Good shout. You see, yeah, one of the things I wanted to find out from you guys, yeah, is how did you choose your barbers? Like how, so that, I mean, for women, in case you don't know. So with us guys, when we have a barber that we love and that we appreciate, like Myles just said, we usually stick to them. We're loyal. Black men don't cheat. Yeah, we
100.
keep to our barbers and we stick with them. Loyalty. Guys, can we say one finger in the air for the black men? Loyalty.
Respect, dedication,
God is
adoration,
consistency.
God is great. So how did you guys select your barber? The barber that became your number one
that currently trims.
Yeah. Or at least your long-term barber.
Yeah.
Recommendation.
I don't know if this is a thing actually, but do you remember when they used to say about the barber with the best trim is always the one that doesn't give the best trims because someone else has given him the trim in the barbershop?
I've never heard this one before.
Because they think most good barbers can't cut their own hair.
Yeah.
I think one barber said that. So he said that, think of it like this, like most good barbers can't, obviously they can give good trims, but no one really is that good at cutting their own hair, especially giving a fade, unless you're me, of course. But
sorry, only one mic.
don't zoom into my face on that one.
Space creator, the one and only.
Trust, but yeah, I heard that rule, and then I think most of the time it worked out well. So if you're going into a new bar, I rarely went to a new barber. It was always like, let's say my barber's not there, which one has the gaziest trim? Okay. If he has the gaziest trim, he probably gives the best trim because that guy's trim looks loud. So he's the one that can't give the trim. He's the one that gave him the trim. And sometimes you ask them, "Oh, did you give my other barber?"
Deductive reasoning, you know.
And I was like, "Yeah,
I've never
you gave him that fade. That's mad."
So that's one thing you look out for, like when you're.
That's what I do. But I haven't cut my hair I haven't gone to the barber, for 2, maybe 3 years. But my long-term barbers before that. That's how I used to select it. But then you can also see when your boy, let's say one of your boys is in a chair, or you just send, "Hey bro, go on, man, and I heard he's good. Get him in the chair." If he shags him, I'm not going to him. I'm a waste man. Your hair,
sacrificial lamb.
Trust.
Yeah, absolutely.
Trust me. I like fades, and I like my like hair done a particular way. If you're gonna one uncle shagged me and gave me my money back. I'll never forget it.
Yeah.
the barber's down the road from where I used to cut my hair before for long term. There was a barber shop down the road because it was packed on a Saturday and I didn't book.
Worst day.
Pissed.
To go
Went to one of my Nigerian barbers.
As well.
Fam.
That's
I
cold.
said, don't. At them times, I was particular about my waves, and at them times, there's no such thing as fades. How can you mess up a knot? Is a level 1, bro, from the crown to the front of the hairline. It's just one movement. There's no flicking, there's no combing, there's no nothing. The guy shagged me, took my hair. I said, level 1 on top with the grain. He said, "Yeah, oh, no, well, my son, I already know what you are talking about. I've been doing it for years."
Them ones. That's what you should be scared.
I think.
Tell you about how many years. And nothing,
Oh,
bro.
He put the thing on. It sounded like a lawnmower, but that was broken, and the rust. I could hear the engine was rusting. I was getting mad, and I was like, I just looked at him, and I said, "Level 1." The first thing a barber does is you listen to it, like. When people say I want my hair at level 1 or level 2, you get let's say at level 2, you get a 2.5 just in case, and you open it. So you can. They always said the rule is you can never add hair. You can always take hair off, but you can't add hair. Yeah. So take off less hair first and see what they say. Is this low enough? Is it low enough? You want it lower? Okay, cool. Then you start. My mind went with nothing on the clipper. I didn't even notice. I was daydreaming. The guy took the level 1 off and he just started at the top. And I just remember there's a hole. There's just a valley.
Man said just a valley of scalp.
You know the I can't explain the feeling. I was so hot and bothered, yeah. I just let him finish the whole trim and I stayed silent. And I remember myself, I was welling up with tears and anger. Them times
I was
Rage.
you.
It was mad.
it was mad. I let him just finish the trim. I couldn't breathe.
How old were you?
I was like maybe 14, 15 maybe.
Do you think they violate like due to age?
Slightly.
Maybe.
Slightly.
Do you think they take
Slightly
the
they
mick
do.
because of
Slightly
the
they
age?
do.
Fam.
And
I don't want to
you know
believe
what?
it, but it makes sense.
No, it does.
Fam.
It does. You know the main reason
Yeah.
why I preyed it? Because one of my YGs, he was like, oh yeah, listen, I need to go. I need to grab trim. And he was local in Ends. Now he doesn't live in East, innit? But he came through and I was like, he needs trim. I said, all right, no problem. Go and see our guy. Cool. Trim done now. He never came to me and said, I can't lie, I'm never going to him again. Really? I was like, bro, what gone? What happened? He's like, I'm not gonna lie, he took the piss.
And it's I can't lie, he took the piss.
Yeah,
No.
Piss.
Nah,
'Cause you
the
think,
thing
what's
is-
the Bible
and the thing is,
thinking?
You gotta bear in mind, this kid's no more than, this must have been a good, like, he's like, what, 18, 19 now? Yeah, he's 18 now, so this must have been good, like, 2-3 years ago, so like maybe 15, 16. He was like, nah, he took the piss.
Was it like to do with the wait time or was it to do with like the trim? He
No,
just
it was the
gave him-
trim.
Really?
Wait, you gotta bear in mind, for most, you know, the thing is, I think for most black men, when we go to the shops, when we go to the barbers, we kind of know there's always gonna be a kind of give or take when it comes to haircuts. So even if you ideally say, oh, you're gonna get to a shop for this particular time, right? There's a chance that there may be some slight run over, for example, depending on the trim and so on and so forth. And also, some barbers are hella forgetful. You could tell them we're gonna be here for 6 o'clock. They'll be like, "Oh, bro, sorry, just one more." And I'm like,
You take
Fam.
the mick,
"Be
yeah,
guided, be guided with what you're doing."
Be guided.
Because you know I called you in advance, innit?
Yeah.
So let's not take the piss,
Trust.
innit? You see it? But it was like, and to be fair, when I looked at the trim, I thought,
He took the piss.
It's when your mouth hand goes open like that.
Then what you say it, and I just thought,
You can't even hide the heart.
bro, sorry. Normally I'll be like, nah, it's not even that bad.
Yeah.
Even me, so I had to be like,
He did a
bro,
mad
you know
thing.
what? Sometimes these things happen, man. I don't even know what to tell you, bro.
Fam.
Yeah,
You
it
should
was
have told
tragic.
him to go back like you did.
Like, yeah.
Fam.
He lives too far away. He's not a local. Like me, I can afford to go there in
On
shorts
box,
and
yeah.
shorts and sliders and be like, yo, listen, this
I'm
shop
not
will
feeling
not
this one.
close unless you restore what you need to do with this thing. Yeah,
That's the thing,
yeah,
and I
will end
think
the shop.
if someone challenges a barber, the barber's not is so shocked by it. I think that they have to just do it. Like they're just thinking, oh, you know what? Just maybe reputation,
Yeah,
and the fact that I rate you for challenging me, kind of thing. Like you're not challenging me in that sense, but I'm very particular about my work. So if he feels like I haven't done it, you know what? I'm gonna give him the trim of life this time. And if he comes back now, call me a bastard.
There's no question.
That's
Literally.
if you leave it to word of mouth, you never know. That brother that you just messed up can go and tell a 20 man.
Yeah.
Do not go back to school and talk. See barbershop. Don't go with
Done.
that.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah,
go
it's
with
done.
it.
It's
And
done.
all of them man say, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Say no
All
more.
right,
And
cool. I'm not going
word
there.
of mouth is important. That's the reason why I asked, because like I chose my current barber now based on the recommendations of my boys from school.
Yeah.
So when I was in school, like there were like 2 main barbershops that people would go to, innit? One of them was called Cut Above the Rest, and the other one was called Top Cut. So I think people that live closer to Top Cut would often go to that particular barbershop
Yeah.
in Plaistow. But I never went there. But because I heard about it for so many years, and I heard about one particular barber, when I did decide to leave my old barber, I knew exactly where I was going to, and I knew exactly what barber to go to, because
Yeah.
word of mouth ultimately was,
Yeah, it's everything.
was the main thing.
Absolutely. And I think as well, depending on the barber that you have as well, I think a big part of it, because I think your barber will low key, because I think sometimes you pair up with your barber based on your personality as well. A big part of it comes into it as well.
Yeah.
So when I got with Don P that I'm at now, like I said, it was a handover from Gazzoni, innit? And Gazzoni was like, listen, Don P, this is Daps. Take care of him. You've seen him come here before when trims aren't done properly, so you know he doesn't play around. So if you're gonna big man thing, I got that reputation because I don't think Gazzoni at that time had ever actually had someone challenge him before like that. I'm not even gonna front. So when he did, respect levels between me and him instantly went up.
It sounds like a rarity.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah,
That wouldn't
honestly,
really-
I was so fortunate. So
yeah.
now,
Yeah.
for example, when it comes to Don P and when I go to get a trim now, we'll always have a conversation about how I want my hair to look, how I want it to go. Okay, do you want to take? And he'll do that. You know that thing that you said whereby they'll add like, or you say you want a 1.5, they'll give you a 2, then they'll take it down and they'll ask like, oh, is it all right? Do you want it a little bit lower? And you'll think it's not a big deal, but it's those little differences. The communication that you have between your barber and yourself when it comes to your trim. A lot of guys, some guys are very, very content to leave it to their barber. Other people do it on a co-op kind of thing. On that, how do you want it to look
every single time?
And how can
or
I
even
really
step
get the
by
best out of
step
it?
as you're going through the trim. Remember that bit?
Absolutely
Perfectly fine. Feel comfortable to do it.
I do it all the time now, and as a result, I now know that I realistically can't leave him.
Yeah,
I can't.
100%.
Yeah, I found that I can't.
We're too in sync now.
I got
We're
to
too
a
in
point-
sync. I can't leave him. It don't make sense.
After a few years, I got to a point where I wouldn't. I got in the seat and I never had to tell my barber like what I wanted. Like when I sat down,
That's
it's
every
just
man's
like, how you
dream.
doing, man? Yeah,
That is-
whatever, and the trim just starts. You
Fam.
know? And more often than not, it's like exactly what I wanted. It's only as like time went on. I don't know what the reason was. It's like I started realizing, oh wait, like I'm gonna have to maybe start saying.
Do you know what it is?
To do that. And now I'm at a point now where I can't afford to, at my age, like
Play around.
where
You can't play
things,
around. You can't play around.
you got to protect it.
This is man says it's not a jungle gym here, bro.
It's not free, but you know
You need
what?
to behave yourself.
It's not free for all, like, so you got to now start telling them, like, literally every time you go there,
That
what
is
is it that
funny.
you want, like. So
Do
yeah,
you know what it is? My childhood barber that I used to go to, as you said, he got older. As you get older, you start to lose your touch a little bit. So the sharp trims that you was given, it might not be the same thing. So I realized before I was comfortable. All right, cool, sit in a chair, boom, we're good. We're getting a good trim. As you got a bit older, I'm like, yo, I don't look as sharp as it used to.
yeah,
Hold on, you used to do the fade a bit. Oh, okay, all right.
yeah. You start,
Alright,
you get hurt
alright.
a little bit, innit?
Yeah, man.
But at the same time, do you feel like those times you can't really challenge him? You're just like,
Yeah, I felt that.
yeah,
Because you built that relationship.
yeah.
There's a
Build that
certain element.
relationship.
There's a certain element of loyalty into it because it's like, I don't want to say that and
Because
make
I
you
feel
feel the
like-
type of way
It's
because
gonna
I know
hurt
that
your
time
pride.
and time again over a long period of time, you've given me consistently great trims.
That's the
so
thing.
how do I now break it to you that your standards have now dipped, considering that in
Because
your
it's
mind,
2 or 3 trims in a row
yeah,
now.
yeah,
Big
and
man.
then now it's like, oh, cheeky one off. So
Yeah.
now it's becoming a trend. So it's like, how do we now address this problem so that I don't have to leave you?
Have any of you actually addressed it by, although black men still don't cheat, but have any of you actually addressed this by cheating on your barber?
This is the thing.
You see the way my mouth's just open as well.
No.
Hey,
As in,
do you
get a
know
trim.
what?
You mean get a trim somewhere else
I
and then come back?
Get a trim somewhere else and come, yeah, or just leave your barber full stop. Has that ever happened at some point?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
100%. It's
Yeah,
not even.
absolutely.
This is the
What
thing,
were the
yeah.
circumstances?
I get it. I understand people to subscribe to this notion of no cheating on your barber. It sounds cool. It feels good within yourself. But for me, it's just moving smart. We're getting older, bro. We're getting older. So your barber's gonna be on holiday. Your barber's sick. Your barber's got to look after his child. Your barber's just too busy to trim you that day. So am I gonna miss that wedding, that date, that interview, that party? How many times have either you, man, or your brethren said, can't even go to the party, you know, I ain't got a trim still. I've said it. I've said it.
And it's a serious excuse, you know.
Recently as well.
You know
And you know
what's
what?
there. You know the backup is when you know you just have to go and get the hat when you know you ain't
I
got
don't
no
even
trim.
have that.
And you got to
If
come
they're
with that,
allowed
you got to
hats
slap on the
inside.
hat.
If they're
Yeah,
allowed
if they're allowed
hats
hats
inside.
inside. If not,
Yeah.
you're pissed.
So this is my thing. Am I really gonna rely on one person? Now it's not a thing of like, you know what, I'm just gonna go and cheat on whatever. Or I don't even see it as cheating. I'm just gonna go to. It's just if you're not available. I'm a
Yeah.
grown man now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're not available, I'm not. Imagine I got an interview and I say, yeah, I got to go there with a fuzzy head. What?
No
They're
way.
gonna look at you like big man.
What?
He's not. He's not
Job.
serious with
Yeah,
that
no,
hairline.
yeah, no, serious
You know
somebody.
what I mean? He doesn't want the job. He doesn't want the job. He hasn't got waves. What's wrong with him?
Get out, you're fired.
Yeah.
You ain't even started. Get out, you're fired. That hairline is trash.
Yeah.
Get out.
Come here like this.
How dare you?
How dare you enter this place?
That's the how sharp your suit is, fam. Yeah,
I
just
just see it
look
as
how
being
sharp your suit
smart.
is.
I just see it as being smart. Like,
Yeah.
if it's only if you like your barbershop's not, your barber's not available, or that's it.
I've definitely got a side things.
I was,
Yo.
we still don't cheat, you know. I'm just saying, we still
Black men
don't cheat.
don't cheat.
We're just very.
But I got a side thing.
You gotta have
I got a side
contingency.
thing.
That's a little question. I was gonna say, if you were able to cut your hair yourself, would you do
Yes.
If I were able to do it, then I would not go to the barbers. But I cannot trust myself to cut my own hair.
Yeah, no way.
So that question for me doesn't.
Because the reason why I started doing it myself, obviously I shagged my son's hair bare times. Sent it to nursery, them 2 rings on his head. Shout out to my son.
Hey, you know
when he's older, when he watches this, he's gonna be like,
that's what I'm saying. Hey,
He's gonna do the barbershop version.
Fam, I saw one of the pictures a year. I think it was a year and a half, maybe no, 2.5 years ago, and I was confident enough to put it on my Instagram story, bro. The thing, it was like hair on the top and a line. There was a second line with less hair and there was no hair underneath. It's like 3 rings, bro.
Did you give him his money back?
I just gave him extra food that day. I gave him extra milk. I didn't know what to say.
You want Capri Sun?
But literally, after shagging his hair, yeah, I was just like, I think. Literally, I was going to say, I went to my barber and then I think they increased the prices. Then you have to pay extra for a beard and all the rest of it. And I said, are these man being serious? And the prices of the trim already was high. And then you want to pay for my beard as well. It's separate. Yep. They come as a whole head, bro. Yep. It's all on the same, you know what I mean? The same structure. You want to pay separately. Impossible. So I said, you know what, I'm going to take this year. I think it was January 2018, 2019. I can't remember the start. But then I started cutting my own hair. And then no one could tell that I went to, like, everyone thought I went to the barbers. And then I was already doing my shape up from early. So done my shape up from like college. So that was all right. So I just combined the two and I actually started giving myself fades. And people are like, fam, there's no way you trimmed yourself. You know, when man them come, bro, did you do that yourself?
Yeah, you got
Did
gas.
you? I'm like, oh, come on, man. You know me already, man.
I do things.
Like, come on, man. You know, yeah, exactly. You know, man. Man's magical with these. You know what I mean? Come on, man. So yeah, once I done that, I just thought I didn't know how to do it. So I didn't know how to go back to my barber and just because Plush, shout out to Plush and Mikey that owns that place as well. He has a car wash, a Jamaican food stand, I think a salon, and the barbers.
Yeah. And
literally one day I think I went to go and get food and then go wash my car.
Yeah.
And then I see all 3 barbers in there just watch me like, that's Michael. We haven't seen him for time. Like, and I was trying to walk, you know, you're trying to walk with your head like, just so they don't see you.
No pictures, please.
Literally, yeah. I walked in there, they're like, raw, like, who cut your hair? Because I remember one of the barbers said, you can't cut your own hair. Man, you can't cut your own hair. Then he saw my trim, was like, there's no way you done that yourself. And if you've done that yourself, I have to spud you because that's nuts. That's actually nuts. And then from there, and it feels so awkward because every time I wanted to go and wash my car or get food, I would have to meet them in it. And I felt like, how do I tell them like I'm cutting my own hair and I couldn't stand the waiting times and you've increased the prices. So I'm waiting for longer and I'm getting, and what's it called? And I'm paying more. Impossible. I'm doing that. Me. There's no way. So
you're such a Nigerian man. Like the way you just put it down to this amount of money.
Yeah.
For this waiting time.
On the same skull.
This is not making sense.
It's not the same skull.
Under the same structure of head. You want to pay 2 separate prices? Impossible.
I don't like the way the system works. I'm going to change it. I'm not doing the system anymore.
Trust me.
Yeah, a word.
Elephant in the room. How much do you lot pay for your trims? You don't pay nothing clearly because you cut your own. So you're the real winner in the
Respect
room.
it. Still.
I pay 20.
20.
Same.
Not bad.
20.
Yeah, it's interesting though because I feel like prices for trimming haven't actually really changed. I would probably say you think.
Since the
Okay,
lockdown,
wait,
there was an
I paid
inflation
40.
in prices. There's
It
been
was
an
stupid.
inflation in prices.
It was
Please
stupid.
give me
And that-
context because
So basically,
COVID.
due
I
to
paid 40 one
due to
time.
the lockdown,
Anyway, we'll go back to
Jesus.
Whiplash when he turned his head.
But yeah, I paid 40. Look, Myles was distracted, bro. Keep going, man.
He couldn't believe it. He said, "What?"
He said inflation, but he didn't say. He said inflation, not extortion, bro.
That's extortion.
He said inflation, not
I'll give
extortion.
you some context about that one after. Let Myles finish.
Hey, my head.
I feel it, bro. I feel it. Anyway, yeah. So basically, during the lockdown, a lot of the whole mobile barbering thing just picked up. There was an uptick. So obviously barbers are paying for not only the trim, but they're paying for the travel too. And it more or less just trickled down into when barbershops were reopened. It was like, you know what, now we're charging these prices. And it was like almost like a collusion amongst loads of different barbers and said, you know what, yeah, we're
just do it
gonna
together.
charge these prices. Now, it's perfectly fine, even for your barber to be charging £40. I know I made a face, but even to be barber to be
That's
charging
not my
you.
consistent barber, but yeah.
Oh, is that?
Oh,
Is that a sad thing?
claim him.
No,
Claim
this
him.
was
Claim
a
him.
sad thing. Yeah.
Why is it that?
All right, cool.
It's not my sad thing. Like you said, we're grown men in this. That's my alternative.
All
innit?
right,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
So it's perfectly fine to charge according to the value you add, innit? So when you go to a barber shop, it's not just getting the trim. It's not just about the product, the quality of the products, rather. It's the barbershop experience. Now, I always say your barber is much more than your barber, right? That's your relationship guru. That's your consultant. That's your doctor,
true.
your nurse, your brethren. That's
Therapist,
your
yeah.
boy,
Yeah, it's
your therapist. On top of that, they may have other stuff in the barbershop. You may have conversations all the time. You may be a person who wants to go to the barbershop and see a madness happening every single time. I can't remember the name of the barbershop you mentioned. You might want the experience. The whole experience adds to the price that they can offer.
Yeah.
So it is perfectly fine for you to charge whatever you want to charge.
Yeah. With a bit of context, to be fair, when I paid £40
Yeah.
a few times, it was during COVID.
Oh wait. So it wasn't one.
I was gonna say the same thing. Sorry.
It wasn't once. You know what? Yeah. So let me just be honest with you. So
Did
like,
wait? Could you define a few times?
So my mate, I can't remember. But my
He remembers, you know. He definitely remembers.
The numbers shut.
I want the record to show that he remembers.
I
He
don't
knows.
remember.
He knows.
What
He knows how
happened
many
at
times he
first
went.
was...
what happened was
Wait, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? With that guy? You know what I mean? With that guy was like this.
That is funny.
It was basically during COVID, and barbershops had closed, and it was during the time, like you were saying, that you had mobile barbers, but also you had barbers that were doing it in their own little shacks somewhere
Yeah.
and offering it. And the reality of it was, my barber wasn't available. He was literally, I even called him to be like, yo, listen, I pay premium. You can come to my yard. I'll come to yours, whatever. He's like, nah, I ain't doing that. So I knew someone that cut hair really, really good. And he was just doing it from his own, like he had like a little setup. And so the price was, actually I lied. The price I think initially was 30. And the way it's done is because on his page, he's got a Calendly where you can book in advance. So you have to book it. And then on the page, it's a booking fee. So you pay £10 just to book it. Either £5 or £10 to book it. And then when you see him, you pay £20 in cash. So initially it was actually 30, which was already more than what I would pay normally. Actually double than what I would pay normally. And then at some point during that whole process, I don't know if it got too busy. I just went up to 40. One day I just saw it. It was just like, oh yeah, it's not £30 no more, it's 40. And at the time, when you need a trim, you're like, I guess it is, isn't it? The game is the game. I just took it as like, I'm not even really meant to be kind of getting a trim
in the first place.
I'm going to work unlike everyone else, so I just took it as like.
How quickly did that rise in price happen though?
Oh, good question.
Do you get what I'm saying? So if it's initially a case of, okay, it's 30 initially, so 20, let's say 20 £20 for the trim, £10 booking fee. When did it increase from 20 to 30?
My sense of time is poor. It was maybe, I want to say, a few months.
Yeah,
that must mean business. See, but
business 100% was picking
no, but that's
up,
the thing though. But I think that also comes down to the whole thing we're saying of when you know low key you're that good.
And that's the thing,
believed in the source,
And I knew that I wasn't paying for.
Charge according to the value that you offer.
Yeah. I wasn't paying for nothing dead. Do you think if it was dead, I would be going back there?
No,
absolutely
not.
For that price, it's like, oh man, but at the same time, it's like, one, it's convenience,
it's
accessibility, and it's also good. So it's whatever. Obviously, if the barber that I go to regularly is cheaper, equally as good, maybe better, and it's half that price, even less than half that price, then you go back to that. But I had no issue paying with that at the time because it's just like, you know what, barbers deserve to get paid, and he's doing something that everyone else decided not to do when they all closed down. So I said, the game is the game, innit? So
and you got to understand, barbers are changing your life every 2 weeks.
Yeah, man.
Barbers are changing. I know. We all know what our confidence is like when we got no trim. As soon as you get the trim, I'm 11 out of 10.
Yeah,
no one
don't even chat to
I'm
me.
11
you
out
see
of
the
10.
journey that you take home, yeah, it's an extra 20 minutes.
That's when you be gallivanting like a harlot on the road, just so that everyone can see how. Yeah, no, it's real.
London,
you start doing circuits unprovoked.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's when all of a sudden you realize you need to somehow go into every single shop on your way home.
Let me go check on today.
Oh, I swear there's that thing. You're like, oh yeah, let me go.
Yeah,
down
trust. just stunt a little
Oh,
bit.
hey there.
And
He's just gonna just
Didn't see, yeah,
You
didn't
trim
see.
that. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
need some lemons. Let me go to Tesco quickly.
Yeah, you gonna
Trust me.
see this
I'm
trim.
provoked.
For no
See
reason.
this
No,
trim.
for no reason whatsoever.
Cool.
Absolutely hilarious.
As we start to wrap up, I think one of the things, like all jokes aside and everything, I think one of the things that I want to kind of just get back to is I just want to appreciate the barbers first and foremost, because like Myles very eloquently said, the barbershop for many of us has been a place that's been a safe space. It's been a place where it's been a therapist. We've seen debates. We've had lots of Jamaican versus African debates originate from the barbershop in itself.
One of the birthing grounds.
Yeah, wow, I'm telling you, the politics that gets-
Barbershops are one of the birthing grounds of diaspora. I'm
100%.
convinced.
So what I wanted to ask all of you is there something that you have learned about yourself or about community from the barbershop in itself? Something that you could say you've learned as a result of being a part of the barbershop culture or family?
That's a good question.
Good question.
I think about it.
It's definitely, sorry, I was going to say, it's definitely a staple. We definitely need, I feel like every community or every ends needs a barbershop. Because I feel like beef is sometimes squashed, for example, because of a barbershop.
Yeah.
I don't know, advice is given, really good advice from the barbers given. Like, I feel like everyone just needs that barber therapist kind of figure in there. In mine, it was Grinch, Uncle Kenna, and Mikey. The man just knew what they were talking about, and they were even just to argue amongst each other. It was funny, and like you said, there was debates, but there's also like there was obviously where we're from. Sometimes there's riffs, a lot of riffs and anger, and you know what I mean. Sometimes beef could be squashed there as well.
Yeah,
So I feel like it's just you just need it because of all the that they add so much value to the community and to individuals themselves. I just feel like without barbershops, what other way? There are obviously other ways, but what other way is there to
in such a local, because when
influence?
Yeah, because when you think about it, a lot of barbershops serve as cultural centers for a lot of young black men, ranging across a myriad of age groups, right? So, like you rightly said, you might go into that place, for example, and you're seeing some of your mates that live in the area that you've not seen in years, and all of a sudden it's now a hangout spot because you're now catching up on times that you've missed, right? Cool. It's another case whereby, like you've rightly said, Mike, like, maybe certain people have passer and stuff, but you're not going to go and cause passer in the barbershop because you rate the shop. You rate the barber. So it's just kind of like, do you know what? Let's not move. Let's not move too mad. And I think as well, certain things that you learn that you think are so inconsequential, you realize that, so when you hear all the conversations about how, different guys, men from the West Indies and African men talk about, for example, how to court a lady, for example, right?
Aye.
And you hear all the conversations about how they're dating and the girls that you see, and at that time you're just there, just happy to be in the room because you're so
soaking
young
it up.
and you're just soaking it all up, and you're just there
Yeah.
being like, you don't really get that in many other places.
I don't think you get
The
it in
barbershop,
any place.
it's just
It's a social hub.
Yeah, people really say this. That whole thing of you can actually somehow end up spending the whole day at the barbershop if you're not careful. It's so true.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah. What about you, Myles? What's your takeaway?
I think it's just I have to reiterate what I said before. I'd have to reiterate what I said before. Remember, your barber's much more than just your barber's much more than just your barber.
Yeah.
Your barber's your relationship guru. Your barber is your counselor. Your barber is your doctor, your nurse, your brethren, all of that.
Almost like a father figure
All
as
of-
well.
Yeah, you're like a father. I remember when you started it from young, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm getting to
seen
look
you
up.
grow,
So
yeah.
I'm getting to soak up all the information. I'm getting to be around adults. You know, when you're
Yeah.
with your family, you have to come out the room.
Yeah.
With these
Go
people, I don't
outside.
have to come out the room. I'm here. Like, I'm actually I'm
In
seeing
the
what
centre
adults
as well.
talk about.
True,
Oh
true,
my
true.
gosh, I'm actually getting
Yeah.
to soak it up. So in a sense, you're almost learning what it's like to be a man.
Yeah.
You're grabbing little bits here and there. So that man's like this, that man's like that man, and you just emulate the whole thing. You just
Yeah.
emulate the whole thing. It's just like,
Man too.
so yeah, I feel like we can all say it may have shaped us to be the men that we are today.
No pun intended, by the way, because I know you were trying to do that.
I saw that one there. That's a really good one there. Still.
Yeah, I was trying to do it. I was trying to do it.
I said, and then he says it kind of shaped. It kind of shaped us. Still.
Yeah,
I knew it was doing that,
Man like Rich 33 in the house.
Trust me. The one and only.
It definitely played a part in who we are today, because you learned a lot of stuff at a younger age that you may not have learned if you hadn't gone to the barbershops on a regular basis.
Yeah.
If we were still getting our hair cut by my dad, our mums, we may not have learned a lot of this stuff. We may not have heard those conversations.
Yeah,
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
No, I love
true.
I love that. I like what Daps said as well, like about how it's kind of like that hub for like cultural experience, like for the young black men. It is that one place within ends.
It's just
where like you meet up with your boys, people you haven't seen for time. You see there on the weekend, and you just start basically chopping it up. So even though you're waiting for an hour or two to get your trim, you just people are walking past the shop.
You lose complete. Like when you're in the it's true. Like, when you're in the shop, you generally can lose all time. You can lose all aspects of time because you're just there. Like the last time when I went to go and get this trim, I'm in the shop now, and everyone in the barbershop is talking about networking.
Yeah,
like purely random, and they're talking about networking. So one of the guys that's there, he's like, he does music and stuff, and they're just thinking of ways to improve how he networks, and everyone's just adding in all their tidbits and that. You don't find that.
It's like a forum, isn't it?
You don't find that in many places.
Conference. Yeah. No, listen, it's the barbershop is definitely underappreciated for what it is. And I think I just love the fact that it was probably for me as well the one place where I saw like a group of black men that were older than me being in the same place, irrespective of whether they were Caribbean or African and all their debates. It was the one place I saw like older men being surrounded by older men, older black men. I don't think there's any
just
other
getting to be men.
And just talking and listening as a boy. But anyway, before we come to a close, because it's been a very good conversation, I'm going to direct it to Myles, who's joined us today as a special guest. And Myles, you are actually the founder
single founder and CEO of Trim Direct.
Amazing. So just tell us a little bit more to our audience about what Trim Direct is.
Cool. So Trim Direct is the Barbershop Directory app that helps people find and trust nearby barbershops. So far we're listing barbershops all around London. So it actually touches on a lot of what we've been speaking about today. And when we're talking about cheating on your barber, and I was saying about having an alternative there.
Black men don't cheat.
We don't do it.
So basically, the frustration started when I was in university, right? And a lot of us may have had the same experience.
Yeah.
I was butt pocket when I was in uni, and I'd spending money to come back down to London to go to a barbershop that I trusted, and then spend more money on the trim, and then more money to come. I went University in Northampton. To come up to Northampton was just getting frustrating.
Wait, so you're leaving NN2 to go back to South to go and grab trim?
NN2 to Lewisham, get the trim, then come back. But man, what ends were doing it? I had a guy in Tottenham. All right. So people were doing it. Don't get me wrong. There was barbershops in Northampton, but I just didn't have any technical platform to basically find or trust nearby barbershops. Then when I got back to London, it was a thing of the barbershop. The barber that I go to is on holiday. Is sick.
Yeah. I hear it. I absolutely hear it.
So I just wanted to create a technical platform for people to be able to find a technical solution, for people to be able to find and trust in nearby barbershops. But the Trim Direct app, it focuses on everything about your barbershop experience. It's not just the photos and reviews. Barbershops so much than photos and reviews. So go on the app, you will see everything.
So what's the name of the app?
The website. Where
that's all the
so the app is on the App Store. Unfortunately, we're not on Android just yet, but we'll be coming very, very soon.
Apple wins again.
Trim Direct with a hyphen, Trim-Direct. Follow us on Trim Direct on Instagram, Twitter. Yeah, man, I like it.
Amazing.
That's it. You will say agree.
Please
If you like
it, please leave a 5-star review.
Come on.
Go in there, you'll see barbershops all over, man.
Lit.
Cool. All right, guys, gents, it's been another fantastic episode. We want to say thank you once again to all of our listeners. Thank you, Daps, again for coming down again. It's been a minute.
It's good to be back.
Thank you, Myles, again for coming through, and thank you again, Oliver Mike. One last plug as well. Actually, 2 last plugs. We're gonna bless you today. We've got our boy Oliver Mike here, one of the Goodman Factory members. He also is a barber in his spare time, so please check him out on his Instagram page. I believe it's Oliver_Mike. Am I right with that one? I haven't been stalking you, bro.
Definitely the fly boy.
Just pay attention to things.
The fly boy.
Not even. It's not even
check out
me.
Oliver
Nah.
Mike. And then lastly, the Goodman Factory will also want to bless you today. So if you go into the Goodman Factory page, www.goodmanfactory.com, and you type in
GPod1.
GPod1 for your discount code. Malik is distracting me there in the background. Type in GPod1, you get your discount code. Peace. We love you. See you next time. Bye.